Hello and welcome to Deadline Horror News Live for the week of November 10th, 2021. I'm Josh and I'm joined here with the Professor Smoke.
Hey,
Donnie usually joins us, but he couldn't make it this week. He's on assignment. And of course, Will is always on a semi permanent assignment when it comes to doing these things. But of course, we are from the All-American Spookshow Horror Podcast. And as always, of course, we want to remind you to like and subscribe to the channel down there on the bottom and click on the bell to be notified when we upload new videos. Um, we want you to become a patron over on patreon.com/AA Spookshow to help support the show. Sign up today. We have a level starting at $1, $3, all the way up to $1,000 Spook Show Insanity level, which you need to go check out. It needs to be seen to be believed. And the main attraction over there, of course, is the Library of the Professor. Those video minisodes come out every Tuesday over there on Patreon. And basically, Smoke will take something from his vast library that you see there behind him, and he'll just talk about an item. Could be a book, movie,
hmm
comic book. Literally, that mask back there could be literally any item, and we'll discuss it and talk about it. And on movies, he gives ratings, all that. So it's always a good time on Tuesdays. And of course, I want to remind you that episode 81 of the podcast is out now. That just came out this past Monday. And that's where we talk about our October Patreon poll winner, Hellraiser from 1987. Um, Next Monday is episode 82 of the Spook Show, and that is our next Spook Show Spotlight episode on Clive Barker. We're going to take a deep dive on the career of Clive Barker. We're like, we of course kind of talked about it, in the Hellraiser episode, but we just kind of skimmed past it a little bit since we knew we were going to be taking a deeper dive next week. So that will be coming out next Monday, November 15th at 6 p.m. East. Unless you're a patron at the $5 level, you get it early. We don't make any promises that is exactly how early you'll get it, but you will get it early if you're a patron over there at least a $5 level. So this is where I normally toss to Donnie for the deadlines and horror news, but I have them. So I'm going to toss to myself. The first little bit we've got here, I'll throw the banner up on the screen there. Ex WWE wrestler Bray Wyatt is actually making a film, and he's going to be making it with Tom Savini's makeup effects partner Jason Baker. Uh, don't really know much about it. He based Jason Baker. I guess it was in an interview with a UK website called Metro. Basically, just kind of let it slip that Bray Wyatt and I are working on this. His Bray Wyatt's real name, that was his WWE wrestling name. His real name is Wyndham Rotunda. But all that we basically really know is that it's going to be a horror film. So, and obviously, if you know anything about Bray Wyatt from the WWE, he had a mask that he would wear to the ring, and he called himself the Fiend. And that mask was actually made by Tom Savini and I believe Jason Baker. So I think it's kind of his wrestling persona was already one of you know it lended itself to horror already, obviously. So it only makes sense, honestly, that the next step for that guy, because he actually got released by the WWE back in I think it was late July. So it only makes sense that his next move would be to make a horror movie. So that sounded interesting enough to mention, especially since Tom Savini was involved in some level, and Jason Baker and everything. So good pedigree. So we'll see how that turns out. The next headline we
And then
have,
in the grand tradition of horror, wrestlers making horror movies,
yeah,
we had
Kane,
See No Evil.
yeah, and of course there's Hulk Hogan and Mr. Nanny or whatever it was called. So there's
Yeah, yeah.
the grand tradition
And you
of
got
horror.
Was it Goldberg and Santa's Sleigh?
Yep. Which that was actually on our that one's actually on our daggum November Patreon poll for what we're going to
Yeah.
be watching in December. I failed to mention that earlier. We have a new poll out. If you're, you join us over on Patreon, the poll is Santa Sleigh. That's the one with Goldberg in it. Krampus from when was that? 2015, I believe it was. And good Lord, I'm blanking on the third one. Oh, good Lord. I had it there and then it slipped my mind again. Jesus Christ. What's the third one? Come on, Smoke. You helped me. You helped us pick it. What was it?
Yeah, what was
what's the third? Oh, the Ginger Dead Man.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wasn't it?
Yeah. The Ginger Dead
No,
Man with
yeah.
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be a hard choice to pick there.
Yeah. They're all kind of like Christmas horror movies that have like a lot of comedy aspects to them. Like all three of them. You know, so with varying degrees. So it'll be interesting to see what people pick. But out of those three, what would be the one that you would lean towards? You think?
Well, personally, I think. Well, it depends on what we're doing. If we're trying, if I wanted to do like, what's a really good one of those movies to choose from as far as like technical, the filmmaking aspect and all that, I'd probably go with Krampus. Yeah. Also, because I would personally go with Krampus because I've only seen it maybe twice, and I'm kind of looking forward to watching that again this season. Mm-hmm. But yeah, both of the other ones. I mean, Ginger Dead Man is just, it's what it is. That's a fun movie, just a fun movie to watch.
I've only ever seen snippets of the Ginger Dead Man. I've seen Krampus at least once, and I've never seen Santa's Sleigh. That looked too ridiculous. With when I saw Goldberg's going to do a Christmas horror movie, man, never got around to it. But Cash 5000 just commented a minute ago, vote for Krampus. So there's one quote unquote unofficial vote for Krampus. He also added wild card Jack Frost. Now we've only got 3 choices on the poll, so maybe that's something we can put on the poll for next year or something like that. But that will be for the episode, because we're actually going to have 2 Christmas episodes, because that's normally what we do, since the calendar allows us to fit in 2 Christmas movies before Christmas. So that will actually be the episode that comes out December 20th. So literally the Monday right before Christmas. We'll be watching an older Christmas movie 2 weeks before that. So that'll be the December 6th episode. We haven't made up our minds on what that one will be yet, but that's our choice. But the fans will vote over on Patreon for the newer one. And that's the 3 choices what we laid out. So cool either way. So the next headline we have here is that Squid Game season 2 will happen. Apparently, like I guess there was some interview with the guy that created it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name because I'm going to butcher it. It's like a Korean name or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but he told the Associated Press that there will indeed be a second season. So, like, I guess he's kind of early planning processes on that now, but apparently, according to him, it will happen. So I guess no surprise, right? Like that's been a massive success for Netflix, and I believe that's one of the ones that was like it came out over there, right? And then eventually, like Netflix gets a hold of it and puts it out here, and then it just explodes, right? I think it was one of those. Have you watched that one yet?
No, I still haven't yet. I've yet to watch it. Did you?
I watched. No, I haven't. I watched like most of the first episode. I got up to enough to a point where like this is going to be messed up. So I need to sit back down. You know how it is. You start watching 1,000 things. I'm the worst at like starting to watch something and then like, ooh, a butterfly, and then start watching something else.
Especially when it's a TV series, where you got to keep up episode to episode. Yeah.
I think for me, I'll just speak for myself. Sometimes you take it for granted, like on Netflix or whatever. Like I'm going to start watching this. This looks cool, and it might be good. Oh, I've got 1,000 other things I can watch though, and then you start watching a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then you just forget to swing back around to it because you've almost got too many options. So it's a blessing and a curse, I guess. There's just too much. Too many movies, too many TV shows to keep up with. So you kind of things get lost in the in the shuffle sometimes, and I guess that was one of them. But so there's a lot of fans probably that are watching this that are big fans of Squid Game. So there will be a season 2 eventually. I'm assuming probably another year or 2 away from that at least, since it's just in the early planning stages. But one last headline that I had here. Leonardo DiCaprio is in talks to play cult leader Jim Jones, I guess in a biopic
Yeah.
of Jim Jones. So that could be interesting. He's in talks to play in an MGM feature film simply titled, I guess for now, simply titled Jim Jones at this time. That's according to Deadline. No relation to us, Deadline Horror News, but the actual entertainment website Deadline.
You think? No, I'm not. Never mind. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, I shouldn't say it. It had something to do with promotion, a certain Kool-Aid, and no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah. There's a lot of different avenues you could take there. Let's just take the high road.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could be interesting. I mean, like, I don't think they've ever, like, other than maybe like some TV movie or something, right? I don't think they've ever really
Yeah.
attempted to really tell that story correctly, have they?
I remember that TV movie. I remember seeing it on TV back in the 70s. I guess it was.
Yeah.
Or late 70s, early 80s. I forget what year that movie came out. But yeah, I do remember that one.
I imagine that had to have been late 70s or so, because when did that happen? Like that whole deal. That was like 78 or something, right?
Yeah, I guess it must have been the 80s then when I saw it on TV. Yeah, it was sometime in the 70s. I remember the whole incident going. I don't know how long he had the cult going for, but the whole culmination of the suicide pact or whatever it was and all that, I think that was sometime in the late 70s.
Yeah. Pennsylvania Larry says, "Drink the Kool-Aid."
Yeah, drink the. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's not cool. Yeah. Other whatnot's going on, fan experiences and events. We have, let's see, the New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival 2021 in Atlantic City, New Jersey this weekend. So that is Friday through Sunday, the 12th through the 14th. Guests there include Felissa Rose, Clint Howard, Dee Wallace, Lita Ford, a lot of the usual faces, that we talk about when we talk about these conventions and stuff. But there's a ton more. Like, it's, from what I can tell, it's basically the big con, as far as actually getting the meet and greets and all that stuff. That's the big one going on this weekend. The only other one I could find is this Saturday and Sunday in DeKalb, Illinois. So I'm assuming that's somewhere outside of Chicago. It's called the Dark Art and Oddities Con 2021. The first one I failed to mention, the website for that one is NewJerseyHorrorCon.com for tickets and information on that one. But for this one, the website is darkartandoddities.com for information on that one. But this one basically looks to me, it's like there's going to be lectures and panels and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like one of those meet and greet, get autograph kind of deals. Yeah. Some of the main things include spider and butterfly pinning workshops. So I guess that would fall under the dark art and oddities part. And there's going to be a lecture called Strange Bipedal Creatures of North America. So that sounds interesting. So that's going on in DeKalb, Illinois this weekend. If you don't have much else to do in that area, there's that. The top 10 in the box office this past weekend. So this is the weekend of November 5th through the 7th. Number 10, Last Night in Soho. It made $1.8 million. Number 9, Antlers, made $1.9 million, almost $2 million, really close. Number 8, in its opening weekend, Spencer. Number 7 fell all the way from number 2, Halloween Kills. So I guess it kind of had to be expected right now that we're out of Halloween. Like, the horror movies are going to start to take a little bit of a dive. But it was number 7 and it made $2.3 million. So far in 4 weeks, it has a total of $89.6 million. So not bad, especially, under pandemic, in the pandemic era, right? Number 6, The French Dispatch. Number 5, Ron's Gone Wrong. Number 4, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So it actually took in more this week. It went from 5 to 4. It actually went back up a tad. Number 3, held steady from last week, No Time to Die. That's the new 007 movie. Number 2, it fell from number 1, Dune. Made $7.7 million for a total so far in 3 weeks of $84.1 million. And number 1, which, surprise, surprise, the latest Marvel MCU movie comes out and it's number 1, Eternals, made $71.2 million. and its opening weekend. So I think I saw somewhere too, like I think internationally, it made like the second or third highest box office numbers of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's, once again, surprise, surprise, the latest Marvel movie does well. Let's see what else we got. New releases this week. This Friday, the 12th, we have just one on video on demand. It's called The Accursed. And then we have 5 releases next Tuesday, the 16th. 2 on video on demand. Sanzura and Motherly come out next Tuesday, the 16th on VOD. And DVD Blu-ray releases. Candyman, the new one from earlier this year. Prisoners of the Ghostland, that's the new or one of the latest Nicolas Cage movies. And one that we just talked about not too awfully long ago, Caveat, which is still available on Shudder. But if you don't have that and you want to own a copy, it's coming out on DVD Blu-ray next Tuesday. So, and of course, like I said, we talked about that one. God, what episode was that? That was back at like toward the beginning of October, I believe, right? It's
I
fairly
don't remember
recent.
the number either.
Yeah, hold on. I'll tell you what the number is real fast, just for episode 75. Episode 75 was Caveat. So go pick up the DVD or the Blu-ray, or just go over to Shudder and watch it, and then go back in our archives to episode 75 to listen to us talk about Caveat and see what we had to say about it. If I'm just looking at our star ratings, I won't say what they are here. You need to go listen to the episode, but you and I like that movie a lot more than Will and Donnie did. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a trend sometimes on certain movies that like you and I are probably closer in tune.
Oh yeah.
And those guys are closer in tune to each other, on certain movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wait till we get to A24's Lamb or something.
Yeah. Something that might be divisive to us all. Or
Yeah.
You'll probably be the one that really loves it, and all the rest of us will be like, "What is this?" Who knows? I kind of like that weird stuff too, though, man.
Yeah.
So like,
no, I think yeah. I know you like A24 movies. I mean, some of the A24 movies you've seen. Yeah, I think you would enjoy Lamb.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I've actually got access to it now. I've got a copy in my possession. I need to watch it. Or at least I can. I have a way to watch it, so I need I need to take advantage of that. I need to sit down and watch it. Let's see. We got one anniversary or horror anniversary date, but before we get to that, we should mention that actor Dean Stockwell just passed away on November 7th, which was this past Sunday. Most people would probably remember him from Quantum Leap, that series from like when did that run? Like mostly early 90s, right? It might have started in the 90s. Yeah. It was in the early 90s or whatever. I used to love that show, but most people would probably recognize him for that. But he had a long career that went back to, I believe, like the 40s, man. Like he started really young, and he was on television and film all through the 50s and 60s and 70s. Horror fans might remember him most from the Dunwich Horror, right?
Yeah, that H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, we wanted to mention that his passing, so that always stinks. But he left a long career that everyone will enjoy, for years and years to come, whole generations. The one anniversary date that we had this past week, though, was the birthday of actor Claude Rains. He was born on November 10th, so that's actually today. Today is his birthday. He was born November 10th, 1889. So he'd be what, 132, 100, something like that. Quick math. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's classic. I mean,
yeah,
all genres that I can think of that he did back in the 40s and 50s and whatnot.
Yeah,
including some Hitchcock in there too.
He would, I guess, like the one thing that most people would probably remember him for in the horror genre would be the Invisible Man, right? Although he was in the Wolfman and a handful of other things, but like that would be the one thing that I believe most people would remember him from. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. That's all we had this week. It wasn't as fancy without Donnie being here to kind of like put the slides up on the screen. I couldn't quite figure out exactly how to do it, but hopefully next week he'll be back. And like I mentioned earlier, Hellraiser, Episode 81 is out now, wherever you get your podcast. And next Monday will be our next Spook Show Spotlight on Clive Barker, where we're just going to dive deep into his career and talk a little bit about him. So I guess for Will and Donnie, and of course, Professor, I'm Josh. We are the All-American Spook Show Podcast, and we will talk to you next week.
See you later.